Hey everybody, welcome back. Happy Tuesday. Okay, so I'm going to be kind of talking about something a little bit controversial this morning. I'm having one of those sleepless nights again. I have those once in a while, and then my mind starts kind of doing circles, and I get to thinking about stuff. And I figured since it's Pride Month, that I would hop on here and kind of give some of my opinions. It kind of seems like nowadays having an alternative opinion to the LGBTQ entity, it's a little bit more socially acceptable to talk about it now, because I know the president's not recognizing Pride Month, from my understanding. And a lot of companies have backed out of advertising, which is fine, because it's called rainbow capitalism, you know, they're just, like, using people to make money. So back in October, it would have been right around Halloween when I had that allergic reaction to pumpkin seeds. I've kind of thought about it in the past. I decided to come out and identify as bisexual. I found myself attracted to a woman. And I do think, like, if I was I could be in a relationship with a woman. I could totally do that, but she'd have to be, like, super butch. I like butch women. And deep down, I think it's because, at the end of the day, I crave the masculine qualities of a partner. But I understand why some women walk away from men. It's like, holy strokes, man. I was in a bad relationship before I met my husband. Actually, my first boyfriend wasn't really that good either. I have a bad history of dating. And then I met my husband and he's like normal. So yeah, anyway, LGBTQ. I didn't like couple, like 3 hospital stays ago. I didn't like how we were encouraged to use pronouns when we introduced ourselves to the group, because there's a lot of group therapy. I didn't like that, because mental health is medical, okay? But it's treated like it's something that we can control or something. I mean, you can to an extent, but there's an extent that I can't control it. I think I do pretty good, but I didn't like the pronoun thing. And I've done time in the hospital with many trans people, and I'll get into that topic too. But LGBTQ has a problem with misogyny, and they don't want to address it. And the people who bow, I mean, there are people who just, like, bow to LGBTQ, and they're not even, like, gay. They're straight people. The allies, they're like, worse than the frickin' entity. Because I don't have anything against, like, you and me, like, my peers. You know, like, if you're gay or lesbian or transgender or whatever, obviously I don't care. Everybody on my channel is welcome, and I let God be the judge at the end of the day. I don't, but I will be talking about men and drag queens. I like have a pet peeve with drag queens, because what they're doing is culturally appropriating women and sexualizing us, and they're getting praised for it. They're called heroes. They're called brave. If women got up on stage and did that, we'd be called the W word, okay? The girls who strip, and we'd be called all kinds of names. Like, even just me wearing makeup, I have gotten so much crap. I'm known as the girl, who's that girl that always wears the makeup? You know, the girl who always wears the makeup? I'm just like, I don't know. It's just weird. Say hi, Trixie. Hey, Trickster, you want a milk bone? Let's give Trixie a milk bone. I love these milk bones. They make the best treats. Okay. So it used to be kind of a common theme on this channel, at least for a little while, and it will be again soon, I think, if I can get myself together. I talk a lot about femicide. on this channel and how it's an epidemic worldwide. I mean, Japan is the highest for femicide. You don't think of Japan as being like that, but it is. Women are marginalized globally, and mentally ill people are too. Like, if you have a mental illness, you're more likely to be a victim of violence, for example. So there's this argument the allies make for the LGBTQ community that they have to celebrate this stuff because their lives depend on it, basically, because of all the not to mention all the sacrifices that have been made, like, by the people before them who got them more rights and things like that. But that's not really exactly what I'm talking about. But on a global scale, women are oppressed by men. Men are oppressed in a lot of ways, but when it comes to, like, unaliving and abusing and stuff like that, it's mostly women that get the short end of the stick there, okay? Been there, done that. It's very common. I actually don't know a single woman who hasn't been abused by a man in some way, okay? That's just a really sad reality that we live in. And men, there's a lot of crazy chicks out there too. But, so basically, so far we've got politics don't belong in my mental health care. And that last therapist I had that I fired, the crazy one, I didn't look at her profile until after I fired her, but she identifies herself as an ally, which is fine. But I think that's where she probably didn't agree with my religion and things like that. So, let's see, I talked about drag queens. The transgender issue is really interesting because I know transgender people, and it's like I say, it's not you and me. I think that we're just peasants, and we're, like, absorbing these messages that are being broadcast to us by the system, different divisions of the system. Okay, I think that they're probably... Josephine Joseph was a half-man, half-woman sideshow freak back in the 1920s. So, I mean, it's not something... It's something that's been around for a long time. And I don't think they ever did figure out if Josephine Joseph was a man or a woman. They were very secretive about it. But they're in the movie Freaks. And you really can't tell. But, I think that this is where it gets a little controversial. Okay, women are marginalized and oppressed, okay? And the left is very adamant on cultural appropriation and how it's bad. Now, we now have men, biological men, dressing up like us, getting boob jobs, and things like that. But that's not what makes us a woman. Looking like a woman isn't what makes you a woman. And now, womanhood can't even be defined. It's not politically correct to say only women can be women. So, I don't agree with the movement, I guess. I think you kind of need to do what makes you happy. If that makes you feel more connected to yourself and understand yourself better, obviously, I don't judge trans people. I did time in the mental hospital with trans people, and it helped me understand them a little better. But I do think there is a little bit of misogyny there. And it's funny, women who transition into men are at risk of taking on the toxic male tendencies, like misogyny. I'm in a place now where I'm no longer working. I did quit my job, but I was on my way out, and it's because of my mental health. It's because of all these psychotic breaks that I've had in recent years. I can no longer be part of the workforce. It's triggering it or something. I don't know. And there was this transgender man, so a girl that became a man, and was really, like, putting down homemaking, saying, why don't you aim a little higher and stuff like that. That's really fucking rude. I think homemaking is the greatest thing a woman can do. Taking care of the home. This is a position I've been more or less forced into. And it's weird that people think it's so oppressive. It's like, no, it's not. If you get a man who takes advantage of his role, which is pretty common, I think. A lot of men, they're like, ooh, power. And then, but they don't know how to handle power. And that's where you get the beaters and, the verbal abusers and stuff like that. Closet gays, you know. I think men like that are just messed up in the head. They don't know. They're afraid of themselves. I don't know. I just felt like talking a little bit this morning. I'm feeling talkative. One thing I oh dear. Okay, one thing I share in common with trans women is makeup, because they tend to wear a lot of makeup like I do. And in passing, my peers and stuff like that, typically they will strike up a conversation with me about it. So, just, you know, everybody's welcome on my channel. I let God be the judge. It's not my place to, but the entity I don't like. So everybody out there, take care of yourselves, and all you butch ladies out there, see you later. Bye.